Daniel, can you do a one finger push-up? Can you show us?
All right, Scott, we'll go ahead and show you what we can do up here, and I'll have Astronaut Joe tell you what I'm doing.
So he's doing the regular two-handed push-ups like you guys would do down there. Oh, he's getting strong. He can do one arm. Can you do one arm? One finger. I see it. No hands. So yes, to answer your question, yes you can. It is fun to be up here.
Now's a good time to also do some push-ups if you want. You look pretty good when you're doing
Can you go this way?
Yep.
Station Houston on 2, we are ready to begin the change of command event.
All right, well, everyone, welcome on board the International Space Station. Ground team and Thomas that actually got us out the door for that EVA to be successful. In addition, we also accomplished a spacewalk. Getting a repair done on an external MDM. That MDM failed and we had it repaired within 3 days. Another amazing event by our teams. In addition, Expedition 51 Thomas was able to grapple the Cygnus vehicle, and we unloaded thousands of pounds of cargo and reloaded it with trash during the time frame.
Dirty laundry actually gets incinerated in the atmosphere. And so,
wait a minute, you're kidding? You guys on the space station are throwing your underwear out, your dirty underwear out the window, and it's raining down on us?
And we have accomplished an incredible amount of scientific research during the time of Expedition 51, including my favorite, the osteomics investigation. The European grip and grasp and Mars experiments. U.S.-Russian fluid shifts investigation.
And like every few days, you'd have to get urine in tanks from the Russians, hook it into our system.
Wait, they don't need their own?
No, they actually throw theirs away.
So it's been an incredible time frame for our scientific investigations as well. We are, of course, going to miss Oleg and Thomas. They are exceptional astronauts. They are exceptional astronauts in every sense of the word, but mostly we're going to miss their sense of humor and camaraderie. And now today I hand over to Fyodor your chicken, the only guy I've flown 3 times with. And so welcome to your command for Expedition 52, Fyodor.
Thank you very much, Peggy. Thank you very, very much. And it's an honor for me, again, stay here. 2 times honor for me. We continued our great program. The greatest, for me, it's the greatest program in the world.
First reason you ever want to make a film is that the script is very good and the director is very good. I love the screenplay, and I think that Alfonso is one of the most talented directors in the game.
When you're writing, you're not thinking how you're going to make it happen. I have to say that I thought it was going to be much simpler. It was not until early on that we realized that we will need to create something new.
Cut. Very good. This is a good angle.
One of the things I love about the cinematography is it never feels precious. There's real naturalism. There are flares and there are mistakes, as it were, but no mistakes. It's all created.
Alfonso has designed it around these extremely long shots, these very fluid 12-minute, 5-minute or 3-minute long shots. It took a while to work out the best technique to do it.
Tim and Chivo developed this technology in which the actors are inside a cube of light.
The three main elements of the light box are the robot moving the camera, the light box moving the lights, and the tilt rig moving the actor. If what we're trying to simulate is Ryan tumbling into the shuttle, we tilt Sandra backwards and forwards to help it. And at the same time, all the lights are spinning around in sync with this complicated motion.
I mean, it was literally like these rigs had your life in their hands. If something broke, I had nothing to hold on to. If some camera came crashing through my face, nothing I could do, you just say goodbye.
Sandra has this dancer background, so she took this approach of prepping herself for a very complicated choreography. She trained like crazy for 5 months so that she could work with those rigs without conveying the tension of the rigs. So in the moment of the performance, it's just pure expression.
Whether it was the cage or whatever rigging system they had, you just embraced the pain because these were all unique creations of brilliant people who had to think of something that doesn't exist in order to make a movie Alfonso was told couldn't be done. Explorer, do you copy?
Explorer, permission to retrieve Dr. Stone.
The technology was never the motivation for making the film. We wanted to tell a story, and it was about developing the technology that was the only way that this story could be told.
This film has raised the bar for the world of visual effects and CG and animation.
The visual approach of the film, the camera is always moving. There's no up and there's no down, there's no right, there's no left. So we decided that the music and sound effects have to also be moving around.
We were keen to make something that suited the film, in that it's shot unlike anything I've ever seen. So it's a case of working out how can we do something that feels totally suitable for this film without using the normal tricks.
It's not just about sound. Once you've got these elements, it's about how you tell the story with them. So we decided that we would do it through touch.
Break, you have to break!
I can't. We're gonna hit hard.
What do I do?
Grab a hold! Grab anything! Cut. We need another. Can you do another one? Let's do that.
This production was very physically demanding. The challenge was how to make that seem free and spontaneous. And that's a testament of the amazing actors that Sandra and George are.
This, you just lay yourself in the hands of the smartest guys in the room.
Alfonso has given us beautiful, elegant filmmaking. Simple on the surface. The complexity challenged everybody, but none of that is visible. It's great.
The science of the earth, the
government science that's bought and paid for.
So you spin, when you spin pizza dough, it kind of flattens out. It gets wider in the middle, and so Earth, throughout its life, even when it formed, it was spinning, and it got a little wider at the equator than it does at the poles. So it's not actually a sphere. It's not actually a sphere.
All I'm saying is, when I look at all of it, when I look at the photographic evidence, or I look at the fact that we haven't been back since 1972, when I look at the fact that no humans except the Apollo astronauts have ever gone through the Van Allen radiation belt, the fact that no one's even done a flyby around the moon since then, it seems weird to me. When I look at the press conference and I see Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong and Michael Collins nervous and weird and obviously like being deceptive after they came back.
You can see on the back of his shirt a couple of upticks on either side where you would expect wires to come in on either side of that harness. They're often portraying that this is live. Of course, these things are fully choreographed and edited in advance to make sure that there's nothing too obvious.
Looks CGI to me.
That gives away that this is a suspension in front of a blue screen hoax. The moon landing stopped in 1972 and we haven't been back. We haven't been beyond the Van Allen belts.
We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space, through the waves of radiation.
No, I could be wrong. It could be real.
There's too many things
It could
you
be
don't
real,
believe
but
in.
they've been faking them so much they look like all those other fake ones. They look. I've seen so many fake ones that NASA admits that they're CGI composites. There's so many out there. So when you see this one, it's like this is the same one. There's so much fraud when you look into it. Like, look into it.
They take scientific discoveries that look something like this and turn them into something like this.
The faking of spacewalks in a swimming pool. In this vid, you catch a glimpse of someone wearing a scuba tank. In 2013, a gallon of water leaked into one of their spacesuits in a matter of seconds. NASA doesn't really have a proper explanation for how on earth this could have happened.
Commander Whitson making history with her record for any American. By the time she lands in September, her tally will be 666 days in space.
With the Earth supposedly 23.4 degrees on its axis. And that leaves you, of course, the occultic number, again, 66.6 degrees off.
To look into it.
Well, Earth is supposedly orbiting around the sun at 66,600 miles an hour.
That's so insane.
You haven't looked into it.
However, according to experts, these photographs are much less conclusive than one might think.
Einstein told us that light actually is attracted by gravity. In other words, the path of light is not straight in a strong gravitational field.
We see that one went all the way in. Not quite.
Yeah, that's that zero-G plane that people can take for around $5,000, where you can experience what an astronaut feels when you're falling out of the sky in an airplane and the plane is falling just a little bit faster than you are, and you rise up. And what happens when you do that is your hair often flops about, but it certainly never stands straight up on end, like how the actor nuts on the BSS likes to pretend that their hair just magically stands on end. It doesn't happen. Watch this clip of parabolic flight and see for yourself. Okay, have you seen enough yet? I know I'm drilling this in really hard, but you need to really understand. Hair does not do this or this. It just doesn't do it. It doesn't stand straight up or this. And the reason that they do this is because of the difference between being parabolic and then being non-parabolic. You would notice the change in the hair from hair falling to hair not falling. So to join the gap, they fixate the women's hair to stand straight up all the time. So there would be never any controversy over how the hair appears. It's always standing straight up.
So I guess it's just a one dish at a time sort of thing, huh?
The good part is, like a lot of meals on space station, it tasted fine. It's just you had to eat things individually. But the taste is good. You sort of use your mouth as a bowl and just mix stuff up and eat it. It's not the same, but it's all right. Hey, tell you what, so you can see, what we're facing here in weightlessness. We'll take our asparagus and we'll take it and go rehydrate it, and then you can see what it's like to eat asparagus.
Yeah, Chris Hadfield, why don't you do that? Why don't you fly on up there and show us what it's like to eat in space? Because we're all so anxious to watch you. Watch more trickery.
So,
keep your eye on the spinning ball. Guys, what is one of the first things you ever learned? I always said, the hand is quicker than the eye. Well, in this case, it's true. Because all they ever want to do on the space station is have you watch whatever they are spinning in their hands. It's always the same. This show never changes its format.
Asparagus.
They've always got some little thing spinning, and they want you to watch. But I want you to watch something else. So don't watch what he's doing with his hands. I want you to watch the top right corner.
Around the outside.
There is a pair of scissors. They're very motionless right now, but they're there. They're right next to the edge of a blue, something blue that's sticking down. And you just saw the scissors move just a little bit. Keep your eye on those scissors. Don't take your eyes off of them while Chris is cutting open the pack of asparagus and disgustingly licking off those scissors. Keep your eye focused on those scissors and watch the real magic in space happen.
You don't want to load your spoon up too much or the food will fly everywhere. So imagine trying to mix other food in with this when the package is already this full. It really just, it's not possible.
Edit.
And you can't really hold 2 of these or 3 of these at once.
Two
so you kind of just need to eat one and then eat another.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Eight.
Pac-Man. Uh-oh. Asparagus explosion. Mm.
9. Keep watching those scissors. 10. 11.
One last piece of asparagus,
12.
we'll eat it upside down. Just because we can.
There you go, guys.
That is fascinating.
Okay, next. Here's a bunch of flashy video. See that flash? Flash. That's an edit. Flash. Each time you see a flash, it's an edit. And watch the ridiculousness of her putting water on her hair. Yet no water seems to be going to her hair. It looks to me that the water that she barely squirted out all just drifted away from her. Watch her try to capture it back and wet her hair. But it doesn't happen. And then we're going to see edit. Oh, magic. Look, wet hair. Wow, how did that happen? Amazing. Flash. She's now turned the screen sideways. Shampooing. Got to put that shampoo on that filthy, dirty head. Flash. Now she's facing forward. How is this? Flash. Different angle again. Each edit represents the end of a parabolic flight and the beginning of a new one. You see, they can't reposition the actor in the same spot that they were standing in when it all stopped. They just can't start and stop this perfectly every time. So that's why they always have some gimmick to have you watching. This time they really didn't, because she's not using her hands that much. But you see the flashes. Those are edits. And once you start seeing them, they become so crystal clear that you can't stop seeing them. All you see is flash, flash, flash. It just gets ridiculous, but not as ridiculous as the lies that they're spinning to us, making us believe that there's magical ISS in the sky.
The next question from Marcia Dunn at Associated Press.
Marcia Dunn, AP. What was going through your mind? How amazed were you to see your roadster up there with Starman just cruising along with the Blue Planet? And how long will we be getting live views, do you think, from the car?
Well, I think it looks so ridiculous and impossible. And you can tell it's real because it looks so fake.
Hey guys, Paul on the plane here. It's been a while since I've produced an episode of Faking Space, but I'm back today simply to add the SpaceX Tesla Roadster launch last month to our forensic analysis series here in Season 2. Because it was another classic example of how a government space agency continues the endeavor of the reinforcement of the heliocentric lie to the government school indoctrinated masses with images and video that was anything but authentic. If you think for 1 second that SpaceX and NASA aren't connected, you better check the facts.
Under our ELV certification agreement, we're undertaking vigorous engineering reviews with the Air Force. To date, we've delivered more than 30,000 data items to the Air Force and provided total access to our internal systems to more than 300 government officials for certification. And we hope to complete that certification this year.
Today I'm just going to highlight a few of the many different problems with the footage and then file it away in our Faking Space series as one more piece of evidence that we are all being lied to. So, let's get started. Number 1 came with the reveal of the Tesla Roadster and Starman in space with this shot. Yep, you've all seen it. Now, I'm not claiming that this proves the car and dummy were filmed in a studio, although in my opinion it absolutely was. But what I want to point out is how the camera reacts to the change in the new background image and the change in the level of light. Watch it again slowly as the top of the SpaceX rocket opens up and how the camera reacts, which reveals undeniably that the camera has two things, autofocus and auto exposure features. The camera is first focused on Starman and the background of the inside of the rocket, or so we are meant to think it's the inside of the Falcon Heavy. But when it opens, the camera is able to focus on the image of the Earth behind it. That's how most cameras operate. That point is secondary, however, to how the camera reacts to the change in light. When the rocket pop top opens, the flash of bright light we see is because the aperture of the camera was wide open, because the inside of the rocket room the car and dummy were in was very dark. But the aperture quickly closes automatically because of all the light now bombarding the Tesla Roadster directly from the sun and from the sun's reflected light off the Earth, or so we are meant to think that's how it works. The camera auto-adjusts to the new level of light in that instance, and we eventually can see Starman soaring in front of the Earth in all its glory. You can see the autofocus and auto exposure again in this shot with the Earth floating in from left to right. At first it's a big white disk and then the camera adjusts and we can see the image of the Earth, or so they want us to think that's what it is. So now that we've proven the camera has autofocus and auto exposure settings, we can view the rest of the footage with a concrete understanding of what the camera should pick up and what it should not. Like stars. With the camera's aperture wide open inside the dark room, when the rocket first opens, we should see it pick up the stars in the background. After all, we're continually told by the space agencies we don't see the stars in their space footage because of the amount of ambient light coming from the Earth. But with the lens wide open and able to receive all the light from the stars, they don't show up, even for a split second. And when the camera floats around and is pointed into the deep dark blackness of space and the supposed light from the sun and ambient light from the Earth is behind the camera, we don't even see a couple of the brightest stars? You're kidding, right? All you photographers out there should be calling bullshit like I am. Guys, they're faking space. Okay, number 2. I saw quite a few YouTubers pick up on this quickly, right after dissecting the footage of Starman floating in front of an image of the Earth. And they are spot on. Watch closely the CGI glitch of the Earth in the background as the Tesla floats in front of it. Did you see it? Watch it again. This time slowly. Now, why is this significant? because Starman and his red chick magnet of a car didn't glitch. It was only the background of the moving image, meaning it's a layered video feed. If it was a camera glitch, you would see Starman, his Tesla, and the Earth all glitch simultaneously, in the same way, in the same direction, and all recover at the same time. You don't, because it was just one layer of the video suffering this glitch, while the video feed of Starman and his hot ride, the top layer, was consistent. Busted. When are you guys going to start asking yourself why they have to fake all this science fiction garbage if space, as it is presented to us in our government schools and in the mainstream media, is true? Okay, number 3. The last one I'll point out today is the anomaly, I call it, on the Earth image video layer here. Look through the Tesla windshield and you can see the dark spot going from left to right. It looks like a long space turd. Unfortunately, Elon, it looks like a few pixels on your flat screen just went out. I have no idea what that is or why it appeared on the video layer other than it's not supposed to be there, because we've never seen a long black turd floating above the clouds in any of the other hundreds of Earth shots we are spoon-fed from the government space agencies, from the Epic Discover, the Himawari, the Electro-L satellites, which give us all these amazing, quote-unquote, photos of the spinning, orbiting space pair. They aren't photos. This channel has debunked that 1,000 times over. Even the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, or LRO, and its breathtaking Earthrise shots in all their high-def glory never picked up a giant space turd. So, sorry, Mr. Musk, another CGI fail to add to this pile of crap. The faking of space continues. You are being lied to. But, to many of you watching, Elon said it's real, so it must be. And a lot of people think it's real, so it must be. CNN said it's real. Don't think for yourself. I mean, no one has ever fooled you before, and they certainly aren't now, right? Before I close, props also go out to Bob at Globebusters for his research on the Tesla Roadster's tires and how they would react to not only the vacuum of space, but also to the freezing temperatures in space, if you have enough faith in what they tell you space is like, that is. If you haven't seen that Globebusters episode, check it out. The link is in the description. SpaceX, Starman, a Tesla in space. Hope you guys are all enjoying the show.
You can tell it's real because it looks so fake, honestly. We'd have way better CGI if it was fake. And you know, the colors all look kind of weird in space. There's no atmospheric occlusion. You know, like everything looks too crisp. But we didn't really test any of those materials for, you know, is it space hardened or whatever, you know. So it just has the same seats that like a normal car has. It's just literally a normal car in space, which I kind of like the absurdity of that. And if you look closely, on the dashboard, there's a tiny roadster with a tiny spaceman. So, because Hot Wheels made a Hot Wheels roadster, and a friend of mine suggested, hey, why don't you put that Hot Wheels roadster with a tiny spaceman on in the car too? I'm like, that'd be cool.
We're going to talk about NASA's Nikon digital cameras aboard the ISS, the ones they've been supposedly using on spacewalks since the early 2000s. Now, I did have a difficult time finding information on these thermal blankets, these covers that they're wrapping the cameras with when they do spacewalks, and didn't even find any real usable video footage of the cameras being used on those spacewalks. And even still, photographs were hard to find. Searched the internet for them, and the most I could find were medium to low resolution images, and that probably shouldn't surprise anybody. So here's a list of digital cameras that NASA's been using on the ISS. The list from Wikipedia. They're digital cameras. And this is Nikon's press release from August 25th, 2017, stating that NASA has ordered 53 Nikon D5 cameras from them. And if you'll notice in that remark that it says, NASA have not requested any special hardware modifications to any of the 53 cameras in its order. So these are stock cameras, guys. These are actually stock cameras, off-the-shelf cameras that you and I can go buy today. Here's another older document stating the same thing from around 2008, showing the DS3 being used at the time. Again, same thing. It says NASA uses off-the-shelf DSLR gear, and you can see the red underline line right there. Same stuff going on. So a few things to consider, as you'll see in this photo of the astronaut holding the camera. Notice the lens is bare and exposed to space. It's a Nikon 28mm AFD. It's made of plastic, glass, metal internals, and some rubber grip rings around the barrel. Here's a closer shot of the rubber ring for manual focusing. And you can see that the lens has kind of a plasticky look and doesn't look like something that would be hardened for space, that's for sure. In these particular photos here, we can see the thermal blanket on display showing a little more detail on how the cover looks and wraps around the camera. I came across this particular article in Popular Photography magazine, published July 27, 2011, and it states, the thermal blanket protects the equipment from the temperature extremes during the EVA. If you look down lower, it says, typically tend to keep touch temperatures between 120 degrees Celsius and negative 129 degrees Celsius. Now, there was actually a link within this. I could not click the link and get it to go anywhere. It just went to a dead page on NASA's site. So the link for the PDF on explanation of the thermal blanket is now gone. It's been removed. So not really sure what's going on there, but I could find nothing on that now. Now let's hear what NASA has to say about the operating environment in space.
We expect to have spacewalks during my ISS mission. One of the neatest things about the spacewalks is when you're in the sun, it's about plus 100, 250 degrees. So it's really hot. And so we have thermal covers. We protect all our equipment. Metal gets really hot to touch. But as soon as that equipment goes into the shade, either the sun sets or you block it, or it's just shaded by space station, it goes to minus 250 degrees. So the coldness of space. So literally, you could have your hand at 250, plus 250 here, put it in shade, it's at minus 250. So that's what makes our spacesuits so amazing. They can protect us and keep us comfortable in those radical temperature changes.
Okay, so we just heard that the operating environment in space is extremely harsh, roughly a 500-degree difference between the sun and the shade. Now let's take a look at the astronaut spacesuits. They consist of multiple layers of protection and even include a heating and cooling system to keep them comfortable and safe while on spacewalks. Now let's see what Nikon recommends for the camera's operating environment. 0 to 40 degrees Celsius or 32 to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Yes, these cameras can operate well beyond these temps, but it's not recommended, and adverse results can occur, including battery and electronic failures and slowdowns. So NASA says the thermal blanket is made of Mylar, Kevlar, and aluminum. It's said to provide protection from negative 100 to 150 degrees Celsius. It says nothing about radiation protection, which is kind of odd. And it apparently costs $20,000, so very, very expensive. In my research, I could only find variants of the claimed material that NASA says they use to make the covers, and all of them have kind of a shine or a sheen to them. So take a look at this sample of Kevlar and aluminum material that I found. The aluminum backing is very shiny and something that cannot be seen on the existing blanket / wrap that you see of the camera. If you can find this magic material, please send me a link. I'd like to see it. The other thing that stood out to me was a rather standard looking Velcro, also known as hook and loop. I did some checking, and the high heat rated Velcros are only good to about 200 degrees, maybe just a little bit warmer than that. You'll also notice the fabric doesn't appear to have any other layers like aluminum, Mylar, or anything else, within them. So it just kind of looks like a canvas type material with sewn on Velcro strips. You be the judge there. So here's an example of standard Velcro, and it pretty much looks identical to the stuff that's used on the thermal cover. And again, it's my opinion, but it looks pretty much the same. So moving on from the extreme temperatures of space and what effects those alone will have with off-the-shelf cameras and lenses, what about the effects of cosmic radiation on standard off-the-shelf camera bodies and lenses? I found this article from Tested Magazine dated May 21st, 2013, and it actually states the following. The prosumer-grade cameras used on the International Space Station aren't heavily modified for use in space. Now, they've been certified with rigorous testing, but that's the same stuff we get down here on the Earth. So they're actually not shielded from cosmic radiation that exists on both the outside and inside of the station. So you're going to see some damage done, and that's from their own quote on the interview from Tested Magazine. So you're going to start seeing dead pixels. Now let's see what our astronaut buddy Don Pettit has to say about cosmic rays and how it affects electronic equipment aboard the ISS. I found this article from his blog, and it says, free from protection offered by the atmosphere, cosmic rays bombard us within the space station, penetrating the hull almost as if it were not there. They zap everything inside, causing such mischief as locking up our laptop computers and knocking pixels out of whack in our cameras. They have to reboot the computers periodically from what he states here. So what does that also include with rebooting? Well, a camera has computers inside it. So the Nikon cameras they're using up there have computers in them. They're going to be affected just like the other computers aboard, and possibly even worse since they're being used out in space without any additional protection. So just a few things to consider there. In the following video, Rad Solutions demonstrates the effects of radiation on a commercial video camera, simulating high altitude and space scenarios. A link to the full YouTube video will be in the description below. As you can see from this test, the video camera sensor and electronics begin to suffer the effects of radiation pretty quickly, and ultimately it creates total camera failure. So yes, you can argue the thermal blanket provides little protection from the extreme temperatures of space, but I still don't think the cameras would work for much more than, say, 10 to 15 minutes before the electronics fail or the battery is too cold to function properly. The thermal blanket simply is not like the environmentally controlled spacesuit with heating, cooling, and radiation protection. It's just some high heat resistant fabric wrapped around the camera and does nothing more. So draw your own conclusions, but I think logical thinking and analysis of the thermal blanket, that cover, provides plenty of evidence that this magic cover is BS, nothing more. Okay, last but not least, I decided to include a few photos of the early spacewalks. They proved to be interesting as well. Let's take a look at the exposed camera in the photo. You'll notice that it's bare metal with no protection of any kind. The film being used in these cameras would not only suffer from heat damage, but also suffer from the effects of radiation, causing possible fogging, streaks, color shifts, lack of contrast, just to name a few.
Everything about making the film was different to how films had been made before. You know, with so much of the film created in the computer, a lot of the cinematography was going to be executed within the computer. So we had to work very closely together with the other departments, you know, whether it's production design or cinematography, to develop the new ways of making the film.
This was easily the most challenging job that Framestore's ever done. I think part of the reason that people wanted to be involved was because the director was so involved and so present here. We were really lucky to have so many great artists involved. There were a lot of moments where we weren't sure how or even if we could do what was being asked of us. We were really bringing the entire film to life, so it was an easy film to feel really connected to feel like you were a part of.
I think that's something we could probably take from this experience, and hopefully other productions are looking at this from the same angle. But Gravity is a special case.